all the support. So here's a quick question for the room. Where'd the picture go? Can you go back to the previous picture, please? Sorry about that. In the previous picture, my hair was purple. Does anybody remember why, for the only time in my life, I dyed my hair purple? Anybody remember? So it's always good to have friends that want to spend your money or embarrass you. I have these friends, and they're in this room. So in 2021, one of the things that I started doing was recognizing my followers who closed a deal. The original card said 500. And it said something like, I'm proud of you, congratulations, here's my recognition of your hard work. And we were slowly moving up the hill to 500. And Dion over there, again, wanting to spend my money or embarrass me, and sometimes both, said, why don't you dye your hair purple to celebrate getting to 500? And of course, he's bigger than me, he has lots of guns, so I said, sure. We got there, there's my hair purple. It was purple for about 3 days. That is the only picture and evidence I have that my hair was ever purple, and of course, it's on the slide. So there we go. The other thing he did, right around the same time, that was 2021, so we got to 500 sometime late 21. He said, if you ever got to 50,000 subs, and granted, I'm at 5,000, maybe 5,500 at the time, he said 50,000, we should throw a party in Vegas. And I said, sure. I'm willing to spend 10 grand. Again, I'm at 5,000. I have no idea what events cost in Vegas. Here's a hint, not 10 grand. Not 10 grand. But yes, we eventually get there, and we just had our first event. Anybody in the room happen to be at that event last February, President's Day? Thank you for everyone that was there. We will be doing it again. I've signed up for one more year, so I've already put it down. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. So now, for the folks that don't know me, I need to ask for permission. Do I have permission to have adult conversations with you? Some of these may make you feel uncomfortable. I'm only here to give. I have nothing to sell. I'm not going to talk to nothing. I'm only going to give. But I have to give the way I give. And sometimes that's aggressive, uncomfortable, but it is all meant with love because I want each and every person in this room to win. So one more time. Can I do my thing and have these adult conversations with you? Awesome. All right, well, we're going to test it out right away. I'm going to tell you that the next 18 months are going to be harder than the last 24. I've studied the economy for greater than 30 years. I've studied real estate for the greater than 25 years. I'm here to tell you that the next 18 months are going to suck. They are going to be hard. Some of you are in this group are in my age group. We have been through recessions, right? We've invested through recessions. We've invested through the Great Recession, the dot-com. Some of us are old enough to remember the recession from 1990, which I do. We have one coming. Recessions are coming. You can't just pretend they're not going to happen. If this is your first recession, and Caleb, this is your first recession, in case you don't know what it looks like, it's coming. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. There's going to be lots of losses. You have to prepare for them. But there is one truism in life. The greatest opportunities come with the greatest pain. We have been doing real estate for the better part of 25 years, 2 different recessions, and trust me when I say 90% of our wealth was because of the actions we took in recessions. Right? Here's a hint. Who's been doing real estate greater than 20 years? Raise your hand for me. All right, if you were in the VIP session yesterday, don't answer the room. If you weren't there yesterday, what was the best year to buy real estate? 2020. No, that would be wrong. 9's close. Some markets were 9. My market was 10, 2010. I best Central California, Fresno specifically. I sold a home for $300 that traded at 75. For folks that can't do that math, that's like a 75% haircut. That sucks, right? Guess what happened in 2010? There were no buyers. I was buying property out of the MLS, getting somewhere between 15, 18, and 20% yields. There were no competition. We had it so dialed in, I had learned the price that the banks would take. It was 18% of list price. Don't ask me why. They never took 19, they took 18. So we just had the process, and you'd get this list on Monday, we'd be writing offers by Wednesday. Nobody was there. All right, so let's talk about 2020. 2020, so who started buying 2020, kind of that era, right? You think it was easy to buy out of the MLS in 2020? I wrote 100 offers, got 2 counters, no deals, right? So again, it's always hard. That's the first thing you need to understand. If you're going to be in this business for any length of time at all, which I hope all of you are because it's the best way to build long-term wealth, it is always hard. It was hard in 10. You know why it was hard in 2010? I couldn't get the money. The banks, dude, I had a wealth manager, made 6 figures a year, had an 820 or 825 credit score, never missed a payment, 7-figure net worth, and the bank told me to F off, I was the problem. That was a serious conversation I had with the banker. You're an investor. You've got 6 homes or 7 homes or whatever we had. We don't invest to your kind. Right? They would only allow 4 loans. There was a time you could only get 4 loans. Then it went to 10. So again, it's always hard. You just have to appreciate it. You have to accept it. You have to roll with the punches. You have to skill up. You have to be better. You have to find the angles. Next thing you need to know about this cycle that's coming up. I'm going to ask this question this way. How many think we are going to have a crash in home prices? Raise your hand. Homes. It's okay. You can raise your hand. It's okay. You're wrong, but that's all right. It's okay. I told you I was going to have fun. So here's the deal. For anyone, Reventure Consulting, who thinks this is the Great Recession, the financial crash like last time, you're not paying attention. Here's how I know. I was alive and buying homes. Here's the deal. 2006, so before the crash, we are buying our 7th home. I go to my loan broker. He hands me a blank loan application and says, sign here. It's 2006. Now I ask him, I'm like, that's kind of weird. It doesn't even have my name on it. Don't worry, we got your file. Like, all right. Loan gets done, all of that. I have no idea what happens. Right? We get the money, we buy the property. That's just like that Big Short movie, real. It was wild. Okay? Here's another fact about 2006. What percent of loan originations were adjustable rate mortgages? 51%. 51% of all loans originated in 2006 were adjustable rate mortgages. How many of them were the now illegal neg-am loans? 12%. So again, these things are not even allowed more. If you don't know what a neg-am loan is, think about paying your mortgage and you don't even pay all the interest, and the remaining interest goes on the back of the loan. Wild that these things were done, but they were. So again, 06, worst origination. 2 years, 2008 comes, it all blows up, short sales come, we have, the world ends because it was all single family homes. Okay, let's fast forward to 2022, 21, 23, whatever year you want. Guess what percent of loans are adjustable rate mortgages? Less than 5, yeah. Somewhere, depending on the year, 2 to 4.5, call it 2 to 5. So we don't have debt. Debt, this is the thing I've learned about real estate. Debt is what blows up and causes owners to lose property. They become forced sellers. It's always the debt. So, okay, if you're looking at single family homes, how does the debt look today? They're real loans. They got like real down payments, right? They're all fixed. Do you know what the effective interest rate is today on all mortgages across the entire country? 4%, according to Resi Club. We don't have a problem in single family homes. Now let's switch over to multifamily. Does anybody know what happened right around 2019 in the multifamily space? Yeah, a little bit of that. But what happened in my world was syndication took off. There's always this goddamn get-rich-quick thing with real estate, right? Airbnb arbitrage, syndication just happened to be the latest and greatest thing. I was at an event just like this in San Jose, California, about these many folks in the room, and I was the boring buy and hold guy, right? By the way, I was retired already, right? I left in 18. I'm in 19 with all of these folks who have stock wealth. In the Bay Area, you're an engineer, you're a sales guy, product manager, you're in one of these companies like Google or Facebook, or you got a lot of liquid capital, right? I do my speech, nobody wants to talk. They all want to talk syndication. They all want to be the next Grant Cardone or whoever the flavor of the du jour was. Granted, these people could raise millions of dollars because their coworkers had money, but they were not operators. How many in here operate buildings over 20 units? How many of you operate a house, like you have a single family home? Is it easy? Stuff breaks, right? Capital expenses, people lie to you, it's hard. These folks had never operated a building ever. They were going out of state. Some of them never even saw the building. They were just the raise. And then they were getting interest only, 2-year bridge debt, making... I've been an accredited investor for the better part of 15 years. I've seen pitches a long time. When you start sending me pitches that are calling for 5% rent increase for the next 5 years, and you're going to assume vacancies are at record highs, you're a moron. But that's what was happening. So guess where the opportunity is coming in the next 18 months? There is already a lot of these syndications blowing up, and there's more coming. If you are an LP in a syndication, there is a chance that you've lost your money already. You just don't know it. Now, not all syndications are bad. It's just the ones done in the last 2 years with bridge debt that have that very short runway. So again, the reason I'm bringing this up today, and I'm talking about how to find deals and secure private money, is I want you to know where I think the opportunity is. The biggest opportunity is in that small commercial, which is 5 units to maybe 50 units. If you go much bigger than that, the REITs are going to come in. But the whole mom and pop investors where Olivia and I play is that kind of 5 to 40, 5 to 50. All right, so there we go. So there's part one of the adult conversation. So this is what I want to do. I want you to understand it's possible. I'm going to only give you examples of things that we have done. I don't read books and talk. I tell you my experience. I want you to understand it's not easy as everybody makes it look. Right? You go to events like this and you get all excited and, oh, if Christian can do it, I can do it. How many of you thought that? Be honest. Just kidding. Yeah, Caleb's like, I did. Gotta love Caleb. Someday he'll grow up, but it's okay. Yeah, you're getting there. Maybe another 5 or 6 years. So again, it's not as easy, but we'll talk about that. And then finally, I have lots of stuff to give away, just like Dion and Mike and everybody that's been here. I have lots and lots of stuff to give away. So let's get into it. So these are so this is first, reality. You have to be able to explain it. Everything that I talk about, this hat that I wear is on purpose. Do the work. A lot of things in life, whether it's real estate, finances, exercise, marriage, relationships, friends, comes down to doing the work. We can't wish it. We can't hope it. We can't manifest it. Do the work. Decide what you want to do, break it down into little chunks, and take some steps forward. Okay? We're going to talk about what some of those are. Takes lots of attempts. If you're going to really understand seller financing, you have to understand the accounting. You have to understand depreciation recapture. You have to understand, just these different aspects. Practice. The reason I love rooms like this in here is you probably have an accountability partner somewhere. You guys should go and practice seller conversations. You should practice breaking down a deal. You should practice like Mike and Dion did there, going back and forth with the binder strategy. You have to get comfortable. It is one thing to consume information. It is one thing to write information down. It is an entirely different thing to practice with another human being. If you want real learning, practice with another human being. And if you really want to get good on this, and this is something I admit was a fault of mine, is get 4 accountability partners, right? You are the 5th. If you can find 5 people groups and just like get good at this together, and I'm not even talking paid consulting. I'm talking get 5 friends that want to go the same direction as you. Right? How many people in the room right now can think off the top of their heads of 5 friends that you could do that with? Right? This is the key. You don't have to do $1,000 consulting or programs. You don't have to do these things. Get people that are going the same direction, take little steps together, learn the mistakes because you will all make them. But you know what? If you have 5 true friends and one of you makes a mistake, the other 4 learn. Believe me, the other 4 will make mistakes and you will learn. That's how all of this works. Okay? Practice. The other thing, Dion talked about this where he got, I think he said half his deals for being in second position. I've been selling for a long time. And the thing I've learned about real estate investors, most of you don't know what the hell a follow-up is. Seriously. Come on. You probably have leads or contacts or whatever you want to call them. There's gold there. Follow up. Worst case, you learn. Do you want to stumble with the next new contact? Or would you rather just call up the old one and just practice your speech a little bit? Right? Repetitions, swings, at-bats, lots of follow-up. You have to understand the flexibility. We're going to talk about private money and seller financing. There are lots of little angles. And again, practice makes perfect. You have to understand them. You have to be able to when you really get good at this, I'll give you the full list of benefits. You could do them in any order, right? That's when you really get good. Because I'm going to give you the list. You're going to go, okay, I can do that. I can do 1, 2, 3. Do it backwards. Start with number 3, right? This is what I mean by practice. Get good at your craft. You have to build a reputation and trustworthy. The whole key to raising private money, we've done over $10 million in private money. The whole seller financing, we've done 10 million, maybe 8 million in seller finance deals. You have to be trustworthy. And here's the deal. Today, people are going to look you up online. So having a social media presence about being the king of Gary, Indiana, that means something, right? Thinking about being a wholesaler and you find a deal in Gary, Indiana. You don't know anybody. I mean, who the hell would buy in the murder capital of the world? Well, that guy, right? He's getting leads off his social media. He's got less than 10,000 subs. He's good looking, but he's still getting leads off that, right? Come on. It just like not real estate investing. Real estate investing, Gary, Indiana, Boulder, Colorado, Austin, whatever it is. It's not about, that's the big thing about social media. It's not Graham Stephan, 4.6 million. You're not trying to make 7 figures on YouTube. You're trying to get a real estate deal. Would you like to have a big following? Sure, I guess some of us would. But you want quality leads, quality contacts. When he talks to everybody that comes in, they're quality. They know he's Gary, Indiana. They don't call him about Miami, San Diego. It's not him, right? So become trustworthy in your area, in your domain. This is another one. Again, I made this mistake the first 5 years. I thought I could do it solo. I traveled on airplanes. I created all kinds of excuses. Don't do my way. Grow your network. One of the 7 ORAT rules that I have is you grow your network 2 people a week. That's not hard. If you want to be a baller in real estate and you're at the beginning, I would challenge you to double that. Try to meet 4 new people a week. And again, you're cheating already. You've got people in here to start with. And the beauty about real estate is you can ask for referrals, right? Who do you know? Who else should I talk to? Right? What Christian did and Cody did is they just talked to owners. Great strategy. The other thing that they said in their speech, which I want to echo and I've said 100 times, is if you are reaching out to someone who owns a property, a lot of you are doing it wrong. You're treating them like a seller. You're in a rush to give them a price. You have to treat them like an owner. They have not said they want to sell. Right? You treat them as owners, and the conversation is different. So build your network. You also must create win-win transactions. Olivia and I, by the way, Olivia's over there. Say hi, honey. Hi, honey. Okay, good. There you go. She's embarrassed. She doesn't want me to do that. But you have to create win-win transactions. So who here has ever mailed postcards? Olivia and I own more than a couple of properties. We get postcards. And in 2020 and 2021, they were almost embarrassing. They all basically said, I want to buy your very nice house for a little money. You know, I cash, quick closing. throw away this garbage. Right? Treat us like owners. Create win-win. Know what we want. Ask us questions. Right? You'll see that later with the next slide. Never forget with seller financing, most sellers can't say yes. They don't have the equity. Okay? All right, so here are deals that we have done in a little story about each just to whet your appetite. So again, we start back in 2002. And the third house we bought, we got seller financing. It was a little house on a street called Ferris. There's actually 2 houses on one lot. And we didn't have enough money. We needed, at that time, needed 20% down. We had 10%. The mortgage broker, again, I didn't know these things, told us, hey, can you get the seller to carry back a second mortgage? I'm embarrassed to say I didn't know you could do that. Went to the seller, had the conversation, got an interest rate, had a 5-year balloon. Pretty easy conversation because the seller wanted out. They were done, they were leaving, they wanted to go to, I think, Florida or Alabama or somewhere on the East Coast. First seller financing deal was a second. Helped us get Ferris. How about an 18-unit building? This one's a good story. 18-unit building. The owner had seller financed it to someone else at $1.4 million. They sold that first one, I think I looked it up in 2004. By 2007, the world is ending, the market's falling apart, you can't pay the rent, it's half vacant. He tries to work with that seller, or that now owner, for well over 18 months and ultimately has to foreclose. Seller financing, the guy foreclosed on the previous owner. We had seen the building, it was listed in the MLS for $1.4 million because that's what it was last time. The owner was trying to get out for what he paid. It was nowhere worth that. By the time we find the now owner, because it's been foreclosed, it's a wreck. And it won't finance. I mean, it's got dog stuff, up to here, and it was just a disaster. So the seller tried to sell it to lots of people. We kept following up. And finally, we met with them at a local restaurant. We had lunch. We told them we understood they didn't want to seller finance. We also made them understand that the building's not going to appraise. If you have to do this, you go cash. You're going to get something like $300,000 or $400,000. It was that rough. We said we think we can do $700,000. But you have to finance it, and we'll put 10% down. And we'll put $50,000 in an escrow to show you we're serious. Because what he was worried about is we would just continually milk the property, like the last guy. I said, no, that's not us. Look at our other portfolio. These are things we're doing, but I'm going to take $50,000, put it in an escrow, because we will do repairs immediately. That was enough for us to have that conversation, and we picked that up for $700,000. Seller financing, 90%. How about this? Seller financing, 0% interest, full principal payment, 10% down. Bought this in 2018. Again, the seller wanted out. They wanted a little bit too much. I said, I'll give you your price, you give me my terms. Again, every time I buy something, I'm buy and hold. I want to hold it forever. So I paid a little bit more than the property was worth. It's okay. I'm going to own the property for 30 years. Is it a problem I paid an extra $7,000 or $8,000? No, because I got a debt structure that's hard to beat. This is the one I overpaid. I talked about this one in the VIP session yesterday. I was working on a deal with a seller the house was worth $100,000. $100,000 dialed in. And believe me, it wasn't dialed in the day we bought it. But he would not sell it for a penny less than $120. Right? Yeah, $120. And I kept following up. So eventually, I go back to him and say, okay, great, I'll give you $120 only if you seller finance 90% at 2% interest, which he said yes. This individual, this guy, I'm positive, is out on the golf course still to this day, telling his friends he got some Bay Area kid to overpay for this house. I'm going to own that. I mean, we've owned that property how long? I don't know. Didn't put the year on there. I think 8 years. It's now worth like $300,000. Do I really care that I overpaid by $20,000 when I got a 2% interest? Again, understand these terms. Another one, your network. Being a good person, having a good reputation. We bought a single-family home from a seller, cash in this case. We told them, because he owned other property, we said, hey, if you ever want to sell everything, call us. We planted that seed 4 years ago. Then he called us and he said, I'm willing to sell everything I have left. It's 2 fourplexes, a triplex, and 3 houses, 14 units. But he said, Michael, you can't refi me out. I want this note to go to my kids. I don't care what you do after I'm dead and gone, but as long as I'm alive, you can't refi me out. I said, okay, I'm okay with that. But what you have to do is you have to take less than this portfolio is worth. I got a $200,000 discount by that conversation. We put in language that he and his attorney were okay with, that we wouldn't do any refinances until his estate or whatever their vocabulary was. That's okay. I got a big discount. Oh, by the way, the rate's 5%, which was competitive at the time, and it's fully amortized for 30 years. So I'm not even sure I'll ever refi it. But again, I told him we wouldn't. We added language that his attorney liked. It sounded okay to us. And I got a $200,000 discount because I'm willing to have those conversations. Another one. Bought an apartment building. Again, 90% seller financing. This is more stories. Here's the last one. Has anybody ever gotten a phone call from a bank president? I did. I thought I was being punked. I thought it was one of these jokers over here trying to pull a fast one on me. Turns out we had the property next door to this one. And of course, we bought it and we were fixing it up. And the bank liked what we were doing. He called me up and said, can we meet at the property? Of course. It's in Fresno, which is hot in the summer, if you guys don't know. He's in a 3-piece suit. I am not. Coincidence. But he says, I know what you paid for that one. I will give you this one at the same price, 100% financed. Nothing down. Right? The only thing you have to do is you have to put $50,000 in my bank that you will pull funds out to do the repairs. It was completely boarded, completely empty. We said yes. Right? So again, there's lots of ways that you can get this done. Grow your network, have the conversation, understand this and that, which will go forward. And then lastly, I bought a fourplex in 18 on McKinsey, 3 ones, almost 40% off, 60% of ARV, just because I was willing to deal with some troubled tenants. Right? I've been the landlord a long time. Yes, California takes 3 months to get them out. Yes, all 4 had to go, but I'm willing to do that for a significant discount and seller financing. So again, lots of things you can do. We've done more, but that filled up the slide and I was done. So here's my thoughts on seller financing. And I mean every word of this line. It is the most powerful tool to grow wealth. But you need to understand it, which we will get into in a minute. It is not easy. It is not get rich quick. It is not no money down. It's not all this social media nonsense. It is the most powerful tool that we all have to do work to understand. I've never done a real search through all the data, but my guess is only 5% of owners can say yes to seller financing. Do you know why that is? Equity or debt. Exactly. If you're going to someone looking for seller financing, they probably have to have a decent amount of equity. Right? They don't have to have all equity. They have to have a decent amount, though. And yeah. Most sellers and some agents don't understand seller financing, and I have had more than one agent tell me it's illegal. I am not kidding. And oh, by the way, these are California agents, and if you are a California agent, you use what's called a CAR form, and right there on page 1 in the middle is seller financing. And yet they think it's illegal. I can't tie my head around that, but yeah, sometimes. Okay, there you go. Sometimes they think it's illegal. It's wild. Okay, but again, in order to get any seller financing deal, it has to be win-win. If you go into a seller financing deal with, zero sum, like I win, you lose, that's not going to work. That's not the attitude you should have. You should ask questions. What is the owner interested in? Is it they don't want to be refied out while they're alive? Is it they don't want to have all this cash and have their kids spend it? What is the reason? And then you, oh, by the way, you have the right to tell them what's important to you. So that fourplex on McKinsey, again, 4 problem tenants, blah, blah, blah. I told the owners, or they were the owners before us, that you know what, I'm okay dealing with 4 evictions, but I can't make a payment for 3 months. Why is that important to me? Because that was the estimated timeline to get them out. And you know what? They said, you're darn right, we'll give you 4. I said, thank you. Right? So again, you need to listen, but you also need to say what is okay for you. Okay? It is okay to say what's okay for you. So, can you explain the benefits? Do you think owners like paying taxes when they sell? Most don't. Do you know, we'll talk about this in a minute, so I'll save that. Do you know why an owner would do seller financing and not pay the complete capital gains? Let's say you bought a property for 100 grand, it's now worth $1 million. And we'll forget depreciation recapture for a minute. There's $900,000 spread. If you sell that, you're going to pay taxes. Again, forget all the other little ins and outs of capital. That's a big gain, right? If you do what's called an installment loan, let's say you're going to do $1 million property, you're going to only do 100 grand down, and the other 900 is an installment loan. What do you pay taxes on? Exactly, on what you've received. If you do not understand, and I have a gift for you in a minute, of what that means, you need to practice that. It's called an installment loan. Next, there's this thing us owners love on the IRS form when we file our taxes called depreciation, yeah? Right? Phantom, non-cash expense. It's awesome. That's why all this real estate guys, like we don't have any money, but we have some money. It's kind of fun. Like the IRS, I've got anything. Over here, I got some. It's fun. There's this thing when you sell, it's called depreciation recapture. So again, 100 grand, million, you've owned it for, I don't know, more than 28 and a half years, so it's depreciated to 0. Not only do you owe the 900, but you owe 100 grand because you have to get that back. That's a different calculation, different math. I have a gift for you in a minute. You have to understand this vocabulary because you are the expert going into this conversation. Your seller probably doesn't even know that. They probably don't know they're going to have depreciation recapture. So if you're good at this, you will tell them, you will educate them a little bit, you will say, go talk to your accountant, then your accountant will validate what you said. So you're helping, you're showing you know what you're doing. Capital gains, again, installment loan, lower taxes. My gift in a minute, you'll understand the math behind capital gains. Most sellers I've spoken with who entertain seller financing, their number one reason for it, they hate the IRS. So if they tell you that, play it up, right? Yeah, I hate them too. Yeah, let's do this. Mailbox money. If you are a landlord, is it really ever passive? Not really. But if you're a bank, kind of passive, right? Checks, no liability, no taxes, no insurance. So bring up this concept of mailbox money. Make sure they understand it. Make sure you understand why they're building a secured. In California, it's a secured deed of trust and a note. I don't know what it is in every state. It may be different. But figure out the vocabulary for your state. Why is their position secure? Understand, educate, understand the vocabulary. Why you can pay more. Here's a big one. Most of the seller financing deals I've done, I've paid more than a cash buyer. You can pay more. Sometimes their egos are wrapped up in the price. More often than not, like that guy that wanted the 120. I guarantee you he's on the golf course telling his boys he ripped me off. I guarantee you he never said he gave me 30-year money at 2%. That never comes up. Play to it. Figure it out. Tenant headaches, right? Now that they're just the bank, all the headaches are on me. Right? Think about all that. And again, they're the bank, I'm the owner. Have those conversations. Okay? Again, what we talked about earlier, find your 3, 4, 5 people, have these conversations, do the list, all of that, right? Have these conversations, practice. And lastly, tell them what happens if you don't pay. Tell them. It's called a foreclosure. Tell them the process. Tell them what they have to do. It's okay. You don't plan to do it, but hey, you get hit by a bus or whatever, Tell them how they get their property back, why it's a secured position. Let's get to the giveaway. So here are some facts. I want to make sure. There it is. So I wanted to get to this. So again, I have a channel called One Rental at a Time. These particular videos are 90 minutes with a CPA. Bob Langworthy, Maine Bean Counters. Very real estate focused. These are all free on my channel. We go through this in detail. He brings up a spreadsheet. He does depreciation recapture. He does capital gains. He blends it all together. We run through this. 2 different years we did this for folks. So again, watch these, practice. If you want to reach out to Bob, by all means. It's not a referral relationship. Nothing. We're just good people trying to help. But those are some videos to watch. So back over here. Seller financing facts, my opinion. It is sold at get rich quick. Almost nothing in real estate is get rich quick. It is get rich for sure. Get rich slow, I like that, but it's get rich. It's not get rich quick. It's sold as no money down. I hate that people, it just makes me feel icky. Yes, I've done no money down. Yes, it can happen. But when you pitch it from stage like it happens all the time, that's just dishonest. It can happen. I can almost guarantee this. It won't happen in your first deal because you don't have a track record. You don't have referrals. You have a big portfolio and everybody knows you. It might happen. Right? It's sold as easy. There's nothing I've ever done in real estate. I've been doing 25 years. It's easy. It's possible. It might be simple, but it's not easy. I think that's dishonest. Balloon payments. Oh, one of the scariest days of my life. We buy one of those 18-unit buildings I talked about earlier, and the seller took back a, I don't know, $200K second or something. It had a 5-year balloon. We buy it in 06, so the 5-year balloon pops in 11. That's not a good time in my market. The seller could have foreclosed because I didn't have the 200 grand. The market was shit. It wasn't there. So thankfully, she'd been a landlord a long time. We went and have a conversation. She gave us 5 more years. But the point of this is I will never, ever, 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 ever do anything less than a 10-year balloon. When you bid like that and you could have lost an 18-unit building, I will never do less than 10 years. 5 years may sound like a long time, but it's a fart in the wind in real estate. It goes by like that. It's freaking crazy how fast 5 years go. Taxes. You have to understand the taxes for the seller, why it's a good idea, the installment loan, the capital gains, the depreciation recapture. You got to have these conversations. The agents don't understand. Most properties won't work. Oh, not often on the MLS. Anybody ever gone to the MLS and typed in seller financing? I've done it. Not really a whole lot in 2020, 21, 22. I suspect there will be a lot more in the next 2 years. Remember opening conversation, next to 18 months rough. There may be more there. But it's in your network. Go to meetups. Like if you're not going to a meetup in your backyard, that's a mistake. Because there's probably an older owner in there that's checking people out because that's probably how they got in. Right? So have those conversations, network. And again, seller finance can be firsts or seconds. Right? It doesn't always have to be first. It doesn't have to be everything. I'll give you a tool at the end that we call the 50-40-10, which is amazing. All right, so that's seller financing. We're now going to do private money. It can be the rocket fuel for your business. How many of us have endless amounts of money? I don't either, so I'll take my hand down. Right? But how many of us want to raise more money? Right? Like to get the deal flow going? Me too. And I'll give you what we did in a minute. You have to document your experience. The key for raising endless amounts of private money, and to this day, I've never asked for $1. I'll say that again. We've raised over $10 million in private money, and I've never asked for $1. How could I do that? I document what we do. Back in 2010, 11, 12, we documented via a website called wealthbuildingpro.com. I no longer own it. Somebody told me there's an archive. All I did was write articles, blog posts on what we were buying, what we did to it, what were the numbers. By the time I got to my 3rd post, I had friends and family reaching out to me going, I like what you're doing there. You want some of my money? Why, yes, I would. I would like some of your money. And again, we have to have conversations. What's good for them? At the time, everybody wanted long, because this is the Great Recession, right? We were making less than 1% in the bank. They're like, hey, can I get 5 or 10 years? I'm like, I could do 10. Remember my whole 5-year problem earlier? Not doing that again. And I paid 12% interest. Dude, I was buying properties for less than 50 grand. That cash, the rents were $1,200. Yeah, and guess how much money I got when I'm paying 12%? Every dollar I wanted. We bought a lot of properties. Oh, by the way, 100% financed. They funded the purchase. We did the repairs out of our own capital. Okay? And again, everybody knew that. Secure position, all of those things. You've got to create a model that works for you and the lender. I will give you the 2 models I work with on the next slide. Private lenders can never lose money. How should I say this? I'll just say it. Everybody know that guy on Bigger Pockets with the beard? Yeah. That fucking guy? I hate him. Just fucking hate him. He said one time in a podcast that he likes to borrow money from accredited investors. That's okay. I get it. Do you know what he said next? I can't believe this is recorded. It's out there. He's like, if I lose their money, who cares? They're accredited. I'm like, what did you just say? I can't believe somebody would say that. What a moron. If you are going to borrow money from someone, they will always get their money back and every penny of interest you have promised. Or don't take the money. Okay? Your reputation matters because if you screw one person over, it will spread like wildfire. Okay? Never think like that bearded guy. That's not okay. And this is why there's a lot of syndicators that are going to lose a lot of money and they'll be gone forever. Because they had this cavalier attitude, they had bad assumptions, they had short-term debt, and it's all blowing up right now. Less competition coming. All right, so here's the deal structures we've done. We've done it twice. I'm going to give you both. 2009 to 2012. We paid somewhere between 10 and 12%. We started at 12. We had a lot of money. I started paying 10. We still had a lot of money. I started paying 10. Right? We bought distressed assets, cash, fixed them up, refinanced, and you can read that. Basically, my private money would do the purchase on whatever purchase price I agreed on the contract, and we would fund repairs. So again, I always wanted I wanted my lender to feel secured. Right? The repairs were somewhere between 5 and 12 grand. Rough and tough. Some were a little bit more, but that's the range. But again, they were coming in for 100% of the purchase. And again, the whole beauty of this is we had about $50,000 saved up at the time. We recycled that same $50,000 almost 2 dozen times because we just kept doing repairs, pull up repairs, just like that. So again, find what works. All right, so if you know my story, I retire in 2018. I go through this little high and then I get depressed. You retire and you get depressed. I don't recommend that. That's not good. Have a passion, have something that interests you. So we decide, when I say I, it's really we. I'm going to get yelled at for that later. It's we. So we decide to take slumlord properties and turn them into pride of ownership rentals. Right? I've been in Fresno at this point for 15 years. It disgusts me when tenants are asked to live in these things that should be torn down. Some of the stuff I've seen is just horrible. We go in, we buy these for discounts, we do the full landlord remodel, and then we sell them as pride of ownership rentals to other landlords. Again, I document a couple of these. Now I'm on YouTube. You can still find these videos on YouTube. If you scroll back to my first 1,000 videos instead of my last 1,000, you'll find some of my walkthroughs. Myself or Adam or Jason were walking through my properties showing them. And they were pretty bad. At this point, people started reaching out to me saying, hey, you remember that money we gave you at 10%? Can we do that again? I'm like, nope. Because I don't really know how fast I want to go, right? I'm just playing at this point. And they're like, what could you do? And I'm like, I'm just going to flip these. So, let's do a year note, thinking I can get done in 6 months. I'm not going to pay you 12, but I'll give you 6. Why? It's half of 12. That was my sophisticated math. So that's what it was. And then as a kicker, I gave them 20% of the upside. They're like, how much money do you want? I'm like, I guess I want a lot. So we ended up doing 56 flips with this model in about 27 months. Again, they funded the entire purchase. We did the repairs. I always want my lenders to have security. I don't believe in 100% leverage. I want to leave somebody better off than when I found them. And again, this is something I called the 6 and 20. If you reach out to me, I'll send you the note. I had a lawyer write up. It's not so sophisticated. Again, at closing, because these are notes. These are not JVs. The note said, I owe a full accounting of the purchase, the expenses, and the sale, and then they got 20% paid out of escrow. And then we got, everything else. Okay? So those are the two things we've done. These are not the only two things out there. Find what works for you. Find what works for your lenders. Find what works for that environment. Okay? Make sense? Cool. Why should someone lend to you? Do you have proof that you know what you're doing? I know a lot of you have yet to get started. Please, with every fiber of my body, repeat what Millennial Mike did. He sat on his couch in this grainy video declaring what he was going to do. And then besides that, he continued to document his process. So there are people now that can go back to his early videos and realize where he has been, where he is at, and where he is going. Document. For us, that started with a blog. Don't know what I'm doing. And I always name my house cute names. Like, it's the Gumball House because it was a weird pink or something. Right? We bought it at this price. We're going to do these things. We think it's going to cost this much. Then I would come back 2 weeks later. Well, we did those things. We found this surprise, and this thing did that. Just document, document, document. Today, if you're comfortable with it, I would do it on video. It lives forever. If you're not, you can still write about it. You can still do a blog or a website or whatever you're comfortable with. But document the beginning. If you document the beginning, the people that are up the mountain, they will see it. They will understand where they were. And maybe like Christian, they'll say, hey, I'll give you everything. I know where you're coming from. Right? I support you. I do all these things. So please declare what you're going to do and then do what you said you were going to do. Document the process. You have to understand how you're going to reduce risk from the seller. Understand foreclosure. Understand what a note is. Understand what a deed of trust is. Understand equity. Understand cash flow. Right? Do the math. Educate them to reduce risk. Does rate and term match? What do I mean by that? Does your lender need that money back in a year because they're going to buy a home and they're just trying to squirrel away some interest? When you're trying to do a long-term buy and hold, that doesn't match. They're going to start calling you, right, at 11 months, go, I need my money, I need my money, I need my money. Have those conversations up front. Make sure that your duration or your timeline matches their cash needs. Don't get got with somebody who gave you 100 grand and needs it back in 90 days. That's not a fun conversation. Right? Real estate doesn't move that fast. I've seen stuff blow up. Right? How fast do they need it back? Explain what happens if you don't pay. Everybody's going to ask, what happens if you don't pay me? So head it off at the pass. Understand the foreclosure process. Understand, okay, you take this note to here, you do these things, and starts the foreclosure process. The foreclosure process in my state is X days, and then you will get the property back. Just understand that process. Something that was always important to Olivia and I in doing this is we always wanted our lenders, I told every lender this, I want the deal to be so good for you that you hope I don't pay. I want there to be so much equity in this thing that you hope I don't pay. That's how I attack the 6 and 20. That's how I attack the 10 and 12%. So if that's true, and I believe it was in every single case, I am motivated to pay. Right? It's that good for them. You can't do that all the time if you're beginning, but that's your attitude. The owner, the person that's giving you the money to start or grow your empire needs to be left in a better position if you can't pay, in my opinion. So here are some facts. Private money lenders, in my opinion, invest on you, not the deal. You may be excited about the 4.2 that you found in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They probably don't care. Seriously. They may look at the pictures and they don't care. They're betting on you, right? These are friends and family, right? Your established relationships. They are 100% betting on you. Documenting the process. I can't tell you. I've been telling people do this for years, and there's like one guy that's ever followed my instructions. He documented the process since the beginning, and look how successful he is now. Right? 11 units in like 9 months. He's making me look slow. It's amazing to watch when people do the work. It's so awesome. 100% purchase is absolutely possible, but I would tell you that's not the goal. It shouldn't be the goal in the beginning. Maybe it becomes the goal when you find the right opportunity, but I don't think you start there. I think you earn the right to get 100% with reputation, with the portfolio. Balloon payments. Woo! That phone call was rough. I don't do anything less than 10 years. Understand them, right? Because again, a lot of stuff we buy are from older folks, and what are they going to worry about? Oh, I'm 78 years old. I think I got 5 years left. Maybe they want the money back. Maybe, do they want it before or after? Oftentimes, you're going to have a balloon payment with seller financing. Not always, but I would say most of the time. Over-communicate. This is a hack. And actually, Mike shared this yesterday. I didn't know he was doing this, but it's genius, and it's what we did. If you're borrowing money from private lenders, pay them early, not a lot early, a couple days. Send them a text, assuming they receive text, saying your favorite investor just paid you early. I did not do that. That's what he does. What I did when we were doing all these flips is I would write up a summary of what we accomplished in the last month. In the last month, we've spent $11,417. We've done windows and roofs and this and that. So they could see the evolution. And every month, we were getting closer to them getting a check. Remember, they were getting 20% of the upside. So they're committed to expenses and understanding what's going on. Oh, we had a surprise sewer break. Well, that sucked. That was 12 grand we didn't expect. It happens, right? But if you communicate every month, they're not shocked. We had a deal that should have made 40, ended up making 28 because of a sewer. If I hadn't communicated with that note holder the full 4 or 5 months, that would have probably been an uncomfortable conversation at closing. But when he got a little less than he expected, he's like, damn sewer. Yeah, damn sewer. Right? Communicate, communicate, communicate. And oh, by the way, I have a boot camp thing, which I did. Don't worry about it. I unlocked this video on my channel. There's a boot camp on raising private money with one of the best investors. I put him on my Mount Rushmore, named Jason Pritchard in Fresno, California. He and I go deep on private money, several hours, and you can have that for free. All right, almost done. Final thoughts. Seller financing and private money can turbocharge your business. No question. I would not be on this stage without private money or seller financing. But you need to understand the ins and outs. What does it say on my hat? You got to do the work. It's one thing to be excited. It's one thing to take notes. You've got to practice, practice, practice. Get good at this. Have these conversations. Please document the process of learning. When you first, seriously, I would record that first 4 or 5 people in a room with everybody practicing it. I would record it. And then a month later, when you guys practice every week together, I would record it, and then I would watch them both. And if you're doing this right, you'll be night and day different. It's okay to not know what you're doing the first time. It's okay. You need to practice, practice, practice. Just practice, practice, practice. So one of the things, I started out as an accountant. I went into sales, like a sales guy an accountant going into sales. And anybody know what's called a pre-sales engineer? So a pre-sales engineer is somebody who's the smart guy in the room, right? The sales guy's in the back, waiting to close. So we would be the guys up there demoing the software. Typically, you are a computer scientist or some kind of engineer for these jobs because it's very, very technical. I'm an accountant. I haven't done a lick of computer science, a lick of engineering, and I get in there because I understand the business case. But I'm competing with people that are 2 or 3 times smarter than me, easily 2 or 3 times smarter. But they can't outwork me. So we had this pitch or script that we had to go through. It was a 45-minute script to go through the application to show the clients what we were doing. Anybody have a guess how many times I gave that presentation in a room like this with nobody else? Over 100 times. Full 45 minutes. Some days I would do that 5 times a day. That's the attitude you need to have. You need to get after it. If you want to change your life with private money or seller financing, get after it. Keep practicing. Keep documenting. It's not easy, but it's very, very possible. Don't stop looking. Don't stop growing. All right, so that's a lot of stuff. We gave you some free videos. I got 2 more bonuses if you're okay with me continuing to talk. We okay? Do I have your permission? 2 more things? I like giving stuff away. Here we go. So the most flexible, the Swiss Army knife of loans is something that's called a 90% CLTV. Who in this room knows what CLTV is that's not a lender? Go ahead. Yes! Oh, come on! Didn't I say not the lender? Okay, you switch gears. All right, combined loan to value. CLTV, combined loan. Now, why is this the Swiss Army knife? This is a Swiss Army knife because you could overpay and get a lower interest rate. How the hell is that possible? Well, let me tell you. Okay, so now you've heard of a CLTV. Let's talk about it. So what's the 10? This is your equity. This is all the money you're bringing into the deal. 10%. Okay? Let's go back. So what's the 40? The ideal 40 is seller carry. And the 50 is the lender. So the lender comes in first position. Today, that could be a rate as high as 9%. Could absolutely be. Back in, a couple months ago or 6 months ago, it might have been 10%. Let's say it's 9%. So you're borrowing 50% of the debt at 9%. With me so far? What rate do you have on the 40? It's completely negotiable. Completely negotiable. I have gotten as low as 0. My average is 2%. So do you know what's called a blended interest rate? So if you're borrowing 50% at 9 and you're borrowing 40 at 2, you have 90% debt. Guess what your blended interest rate is approximately? It's like 5.5, 6, something like that. Is 6% lower than today's going rate? Is 6% like really good with 90% leverage? Yeah. Remember what I said earlier about seller financing deals and all these things? This is the #1 Swiss Army knife. It doesn't always work because, again, the seller has to have a bunch of equity. But how much equity do they really need to have? Let's see if anybody caught this. What's the minimum equity that a seller needs to have for this to work? Bingo, 40%. Right? Let's just assume they have 40%, right? What are they worried about? The note. They're getting 60% of this, right? 50% from a lender, 10% from you, right? In reality, they probably have to have 45 or 46 because the real estate commission and all of that. But you get the point. They don't have to have 100%. I look for, and I'll give you another tool in a minute, 50% or greater. Oh, by the way, does the 50-40-10 work on single-family homes? Yeah. Yep. Work on quads? Yeah. Yep. Work on 10 to 40 unit buildings? Yep. This is the tool that I plan to use to buy our biggest buildings in the next 18 months. I am looking for landlords that have owned properties for 20 years or more, that have equity positions of 60% or more. Those are who we are reaching out to, right, in bigger buildings. Because again, syndications blew up. Lots of people are going to be losing properties. Equity, LPs are going to be gone. Remember what I told you about 2010? Houses blew up, right? Nobody was buying houses. Guess what's going to blow up now? Multifamily, office. Nobody's going to buy that stuff. I'll be one of the last buyers out there. And oh, by the way, as it says next, I can overpay. Right? As long as you are willing to set my terms on that 40, I don't mind overpaying. I'm going to hold it forever. That's my plan with everything we buy, is I'm going to hold it forever. So I don't mind paying it a little extra 10, 20, 30, 40 grand, assuming I get the rates. And again, it is magical. The 50, 40, 10, when done right, you could overpay and get a lower rate. And I'm in the cash flow business. Okay? And again, it's a win-win, purchase or refi. And again, because I like giving stuff away, I did a deep dive on the 50, 40, 10, answered all kinds of questions. I think we had 50 people on the phone going through it. If you want to, geek out and watch lots of people talk about it, you have that video for free on my YouTube channel. All right, one last giveaway. How to find owners that can say yes. Right, remember? I said earlier 5%, maybe it's 10, maybe it's whatever it is. Not all of them can. This is the tool that I use and a lot of my investor friends. There are others, and if you have a title agent that'll give you this, by all means do that because that's free. What I use is something called PropStream. I think it gives loan information. It's all right there. I can do lead stacking. I can do all these different things. But it allows me to look into what is potentially in my buy box. What does the landlord or owner have? I've done enough business with PropStream. They gave us this little discount code thing. It allows you to have a 14-day trial, 50 free leads, and a discount if you buy it. You don't have to use it, but if you want to play with something for a couple weeks, it's there. There you go, 2 free weeks and 50 recorded downloads. It allows you to hunt, it's like I call it my metal detector, right? I put in my buy box criteria, it's my metal detector. It's not always perfect by any means, but it's certainly far more efficient when I'm hunting. And again, there's a deep dive video on this with PropStream. Again, I got a lot of videos and some clout. So I had their engineer on the phone, again, 90 minutes showing you how to use the application. Again, for free, yay. There you go, that's all I got. So if you want to follow me, one rental at a time, YouTube, IG, all of that, I'll take questions. There you go, that's all I got.
Great talk. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, earlier you were speaking, you were like, oh, sellers can't really do this unless they have a lot of equity. At first I thought you were going to say, like, it could only be a pay on it being clear, but to see your 50, 40, 10, that's really remarkable. Do you apply that also to single family owners? Okay, yeah, I think that's really beautiful because it's like you can take one bank loan and replace it with another. It keeps your down payment really small,
Yeah.
and it allows the sellers to still monetize their equity.
Exactly. Yeah, because when you do it right, think about it. The seller is going to walk away with about 60% of the cash, and they have a note going forward. And you have, it's like if you really understand the 50, 40, 10, everybody wins. They get some cash, you get a lower rate, you can hold it for a long time. It's fixed for 30 years. Did I not say that? The 50, 40, 10, the 90, it's fixed for 30 years. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Houses, apartments, doesn't matter.
You talked a little bit about the 10 coming from us, the 40 from the seller. Tell me a little bit more about the 50. Are you using private money? Are you using commercial lending?
So,
I know is that a bridge to your bridge loan?
Nope. So I want to be respectful to the lenders. What you have to do as an investor is ask your lenders, do they support 90% CLTV? That's what you have to do. If you are on my channel, you know that I have one lender that does that. The 50% is 30-year fixed rate debt. I don't do balloons. 30-year fixed rate debt. So it's a first with a lender, 40% seller, 10% you. But there are plenty of lenders that can support 50, 40, 10. Your job is to say, do you have a 90% CLTV product? The answer is no. Move on. Next phone call.
So you said earlier that you need to be very well versed in how to explain seller financing, right? From like an accounting perspective. I have a background as a CPA.
Cool.
So I think very similar. I get a question a lot of how does someone without an accounting background, like, learn that?
Yep.
And it's, people start glazing over and start talking numbers and appreciation of capital. What do you say to that?
The beauty is that video that I put up earlier, 90 minutes with a CPA, and it's also an EA, allows you to watch that over and over and over and over. You have to practice. The glazing over is not acceptable. If you don't understand the math and the why lower taxes and what depreciation recapture is, you're going in half-cocked. You're going to lose to a guy like me. I'm going to clean your clock. It's not acceptable. If you're going to play in seller financing, you need to understand it. The good news is I have a CPA that was willing to give me 90 minutes of his time twice, 2 different years, and you can now watch them as many times as you want. Of course, it's that important. Give, give, give.
Any more questions? What did that hat say?
Do the work. The only thing that matters.
Thank you so much.
And that